Un Chien Andalou, or An Andalusian Dog, is probably one of the most brain-rot pictures you have ever seen, and there are two completely different ways how to perceive this movie. Un Chien Andalou was released in France in 1929 and was a collaboration of these two fellas, Louis Bunuel and Salvador Dali. You will recognize him as one of the most influential surrealist painters, but I would wager that not many recognize Bunuel as the avant-garde surrealist filmmaker. The popular Ballet de Jour was directed by him in 1967. Many would describe him as a Spanish David Lynch. The movie was created with an idea to avoid every logical piece there. Bunuel described a dream he had in which a cloud slides through the moon, much like a razor cutting through an eye. Dali responded with his own strange dream about a hand covered in ants. They became fascinated with the idea of combining these two powerful dream images and agreed to create a film that would completely reject traditional logic, narrative, and any attempt of making any sense. The film is designed to be disorienting, blending dream logic with nightmarish imagery to critique social conventions and challenge narrative structure. But nothing is that simple here. Basically, it's a silent movie where a couple of the music introductions vary. I have watched and the most popular one, which you have already heard. So what exactly happens there? The movie begins with a man played by Bunuel slicing a woman's eye with a razor. A shocking image that sets the tone for the surreal and irrational scenes. 8 years later, a young man rides a bicycle dressed in a nun's habit. Then he accidentally falls and is carried away by a woman. She found a box with some stuff which was probably being delivered to her. Then the same guy appears right behind her, being fully occupied with his own hand, covered with ants that goes from the hand itself. The next shot was slightly faded to someone's armpit, and then to a sea urchin. Well, next we can see some strange person messing with a chopped off hand on the street, where a police officer is trying to push the curious crowd back. And those two up ahead are curious as well. Meanwhile, the person below dies by a car accident. The man gets freaky and attempts to assault the woman in every way it's possible. She runs into the corner and defends herself with a tennis racket. But what is truly deters him is two fucking dead donkeys on the pianos tied to a priest with a rope he is holding. The girl is definitely terrified and she runs to another room trying to hold the door from the oversaturated with lust men. Quite a weirdness here, isn't it? And this is the point. We can say actually a lot, but the idea of the video is to explain that perception of the movie can be completely different. As creators said, the main idea of the movie is to tell a story with no logical connections at all.
La règle était refuser toute image qui pouvait avoir une explication rationnelle, ou des souvenirs, ou due à la culture, c'est-à-dire toute image qui nous apparaissait et nous la trouvions impressionnante, qui nous impressionnait, on l'acceptait sans discuter.
As I already mentioned, the hand symbolizes lust and sexual desires, as well as the assaulting scene. And Bunuel was known in some way for his cynical religion opinions. There's not really simple thing to be saying that some people could have these simple desires, but they don't act on them because of the pressure of the religious society. And the key is that people don't act actually on them, not because of the understanding of wrongness of their actions, but because they've been told by others. The next shots show us a person in the strange clothing, which from my opinion can show his childhood, and this man is probably a baby. Then the aged and well-dressed man comes inside to beat and scold the baby. Then, 16 years later, this man gives him some books, which can mean achieving the innocence, but they turn into the guns and the fella got shot. At this point, time has lost all meaning, just like in a dream, just like Bunuel and Dali was trying to achieve. Personally, I read the scene as his innocent side or even an alter ego is trying to give him a lesson, to refuse and be disgusted by his sinful desires. It leads to a total establishment of craziness and lunacy. Then we can observe a number of fellas in the woods who are attempting to offer assistance or perhaps to rescue the body, I'm not really sure. Now we are back to the present where we are focused on the moss, which is the symbol of transformation and rebirth. Exactly what I have mentioned, the complete rejection of innocence to become an abomination. After a scene where this crazy was ridiculed by losing his mouse and having the armpit hair there instead, acting like a scarecrow or something, the woman laughs at him and leaves. Ends up on the beach with a handsome man standing below. Those two had a quite romantic beach walk which leads to a happy ending. On one side, the title Chien Andalou can mean literally nothing, because there is no dogs, as you've seen, and nothing that refers to Andalusia at all. Like, there is no any logical connection as creators wanted to achieve. A movie that means nothing. Nevertheless, it is really crucial to mention the Dali and Lorca storyline relationship, which probably explain a lot of things. The story of Salvador Dali and Federico Garcia Lorca is compelling and complex tale of friendship. Lorca, the celebrated poet and playwright, met Dali in 1923 at Residencia de Estudiantes in Madrid. The two were very different personality, but they quickly became inseparable. It's not enough. Their relationship was marked by a strong emotional and intellectual bond, but their physical relationship remains ambiguous and has been the subject of much speculations. While it's clear that Lorca had a deep romantic and likely sexual attraction to Dali, evidence suggests that Dali, with his complicated views on sexuality, never fully reciprocated these feelings in a physical way. Dali just got bored of Lorca's feelings and fled to Paris. He made this movie with Bunuel and went with the Andalusian dog, making a reference to Lorca who was Andalusian. Quite sad story, but it can probably explain the main title of the movie and the meaning itself. As far as I see and sharing with y'all, this is my personal interpretation of the movie, and there are so many more out there. If you see this picture as a complete nonsense, you ain't mistaken at all. But I encourage everybody to give it a chance and leave your opinions below. It's a wild experience and I can definitely say that they were so ahead of their time.